Hello, this is Everett Pierce, and today is November the 26th, 2016, and it's about 12 after 9. Now, the topic we're going to talk about today is duly noted. D-U-L-Y, noted. N-O-T-E-D, duly noted. Now, the things about me, who is Everett? There's a difference between someone who is a scholar, versus someone who's an author of this. So the topic of duly noted. Now let's say I'm in a position of a judge or one level higher than like a Supreme Court judge. And we have a meeting. And we have, whether you call them board members or just we the people, as a means of getting together to problem solve, to bring about better and newer concepts of things. Duly noted. Now that is a term that I established because it fits perfectly. Duly means correct. Means I'm going to listen to you as a problem solver, as I am the best problem solver that you'll ever run into in your lifetime, or anyone's lifetime. Okay, duly means properly. Does that mean I automatically put it down in writing? Or does that mean I'm collecting, which is another term of collective knowledge? So duly noted and collective knowledge, they go hand in hand. Okay, and people do this all the time. Duly noted. Observations. Okay, so what does it say in this meeting? Now, if you get offended easily with words, then you may want your children to listen to this, because I'm a man of communication. So I use multitude of languages and applications to teach the moral of the story. Okay, because we have a multitude of people. Okay, so let's say in this meeting, and we are deciding upon cats. Okay, and part of the rule that not only is animal cruelty that we have decided upon, that animal cruelty must be in place. I mean, we cannot have people going out at their liberties, inflicting pain and suffrage onto animals. And in this case, I have picked the cat. Okay, so in this meeting, we pretty much all have agreed upon that animal cruelty needs to be against the law. I mean, there will be consequences if you engage in this type of activity. Okay, so everyone comes forth with their First Amendment. This is what I think, and this is how I feel. Now, as a problem solver, I have to use collective knowledge. Okay. And by gathering collective knowledge, I cannot be biased. I cannot treat any of these members any differently than I would with one or the other, because they are helping me as a problem solver. Okay, so let's say 80% of the 10 people that I'm listening to, yeah, it's a no-brainer that we should not be torturing animals. But the ninth one stands up and says, well, I feel I have the right to stick firecrackers up a cat's butt, or a firecracker up a cat's ass and light it off. And I would say, duly noted. Okay, and the reason why I would not form or behave in a way to shun his thinking. Okay, mainly when we make it illegal for animal cruelty, is now he has to conform his thinking in terms of his evolution. Now he can think it, as long as he does not carry it out. Otherwise, there are consequences. And the reason why we don't say, oh, that's animal cruelty, we're going to lock you up. Okay, as a problem solver, I'm thinking back here, duly noted means you have your First Amendment right. And I'm taking note of that. Okay, now my mind shifts. I'm going to focus on the 8 people. Okay, because they've already unanimously, we're going to vote in, it is against the law for animal cruelty, especially putting firecrackers up a cat's ass. Okay. But the reason for this is I'm going to focus on him and say the 10th one, he thinks he should have the right to hang a cat up in a tree. If he's, whatever reason that is. Okay. But the thing is, or he likes to torture animals. So he can't, I didn't say eat animals, because eating animals, as long as it's done mercifully, could be an element of self-preservation. It means you're hungry and you need to eat for survival. So that is not part of that category. So now I'm thinking, why? Obviously, we have a different level of evolution. Why does he feel the need to put firecrackers up a cat's ass? Is it something that when he was a kid, that there was some things in his development that these are some of the things that he did and he wasn't corrected? Okay, so that gives me feedback. Okay, and there's also an element of energy called the 90-10. Okay, because our true enemy is extinction. Okay, meaning that extinction has its powers within the polarity of things. Means I might say yes, or I'm thinking yes, but I said no. Okay, and that's why we use confirmation. That's why if you didn't think you heard someone correctly, you say, could you please repeat yourself, because I'm not sure I understood you correctly. Okay, so I would take note. Okay, and I would not punish this person because he's being brutally honest. I mean, who stands up and say, I think I have the right to stick a firecracker up a cat's ass and light it off? Because he finds some kind of humor in there. Okay, so it tells me several things. It may not necessarily of cruelty to animals, is that his development might lie into he has a hard time seeing humor in things. Okay, and the development dysfunction in his development in terms of humor could relate to the type of life that he grew up as a child. So it helps me feedback from people to see the multiple levels of evolution at play. Okay, I'm still going to decide upon what's in the best interest to us all. Okay, an animal is a life form, just like you and I. Okay, they have unalienable rights, even though some nations don't treat it as such. Okay, because the thing is, when we look at animals, we think animals are not as evolved as people. But actually, in some ways, the way people behave, the way we behave makes them look superior in terms of the way they do things. Because amongst animals, you don't see much of racism. You don't see, if they kill one another, it's usually out of protection or self-preservation. It means they need to eat. Okay, so that's why, to give you an understanding how, as a problem solver, that I would think. So if you and I, or your husband and wife, or your company, and we're in a meeting, is I instruct everyone, when we leave this room, kind of like Vegas, within Vegas, you stays in Vegas. Means I will explain to them is why we have to do this. Okay. So it's just so we can have collective knowledge. Collective knowledge. Okay, so after we leave this room, it is against the law for animal cruelty. And we're going to make a list. You do not put firecrackers in animals' asses. You do not torture them. If they are to be killed, they must be done quickly and as painless as possible, especially if it's in terms of eating. People eat squirrels, people eat deer, people eat a lot of animals. In terms of self-preservation and feeding oneself. Okay, but we're talking about animal cruelty. Means you have an animal and you got them outside chained. That's not element democracy. That's not freedom. That's why we have, this, with our chickens and stuff like that, free range chickens. Okay. But if you got him chained up and you're not giving water, you're not giving food, that's animal cruelty. If we was to do the same thing to a person, we shackle you to a tree, and then we don't give you water, we don't give you food, self-sustaining, life-sustaining elements. You breathe. Well, you're going to get that automatically of the 4 hierarchy of air, water, and food, and sex. Well, obviously, if you're chained up and you're chained up by yourself, sex is gone, and food and water is gone. Air, you have water or air. So the only thing life-sustaining that you have is oxygen. Oxygen, if you get rid of it right away, you die within minutes. If you take away water, you die within hours, if not days. You get rid of food, which is the 3rd element, you can die. You can go several days without eating food. Okay, so if we did that to a person, and anyone that would put themselves in that position, that would see the horrifying emotions and not the sensation, because of our 5 senses, being able to observe things, that would be horrifying. Okay, so if we wouldn't want that for us, then why would we want to do that to other people? Okay, that's an old cliche quote of do unto others as you would want done unto you. Okay, so a lot of things as people develop and evolve from infant up, there are many variables at play here, from their parents to their surroundings to the society, and also the time frame. There's a big difference between something back in 1865 versus 2016. Okay, it doesn't mean that we are without our own issues. Because no matter what you do, it's just like you become a millionaire and you say, oh, I thought I got rid of all my problems, and then what you have discovered is you just have new issues to deal with. In life, like energy, if you're energy and you're about forever life, your life, your opposing energy is extinction. That is your true enemy. And that now you have to understand what is within the tools or capabilities of extinction energy. And it's just as real as the heat that warms my skin. And so we would like to think that our enemy, or like in this meeting, that this guy who wants to put firecrackers up cats' asses, is our enemy, is the enemy of animals. No, actually, it isn't. If you dig deeper as to why, why does he need to do that for some kind of a humor or comedy or laughter? Because he gets a giggle out of it. Okay, so that gives us feedback. It's called collective knowledge. And from that, from the tools that I have in terms of energy, the foundation of energy, and being, a lot of people think being right is always right and is wrong. Okay, because sometimes being right can be wrong and being wrong can be right. That's the polarity of energy. Okay, and depending on the timeline of man, where you're at. So, but there's some things which is I call a keystone. It is never okay to torture another life form. It just is never okay. If you're doing it to eat, survival, that's one thing. You're going to do it quickly, so they do not engage, whether it's the term merciful, is to do it quickly, so they do not suffer. And they take it one step further. They give thanks to the animal. Thanks for your sacrifice in order for me to survive one more day here. Okay, so that's why when we think these things out, we use the element called, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Means I do not have to tell you I am of the lighter skin, as some people like to prefer to call white man. Okay, I am not a white man. I'm just a lighter shade of brown. That is what we can prove in a court of law. Okay, I don't have to tell you I'm a male. Okay, I may have to tell you that I'm heterosexual because we have gay men, we have gay women. Okay, now I don't necessarily have to tell you my sexual orientation unless I'm having a relationship with you. Okay, which I'm not gay, but I also understand all the parts to the ecosystem of life. And gay people, on the 2-to-1 ratio, it means female, female, male, male, and male and female. There's 3 parts. So we know that by pro-life, and that's why we have deer season and animals, for hunting, is we know that a particular life form, if it overpopulates, it can die of famine. It can die of torture. So, without no food or shelter or whatever. So due process, or duly noted. Okay, that's the thinking that I'm on. Duly noted means I'm going to take in, we're having this meeting between, say we're at marriage counseling, you come to me for marriage counseling, is I'm going to expect you to come forth and provide me collective knowledge. And I'm going, leave it up to me to decipher if you're lying to me, you're not lying to me, because I'm good at that. I'm good at deciphering the truth and the false, because people are going to lie. Just like on the show House. That's the show that best represents me in many different aspects of my personality. So in this meeting, we have to use brutal honesty. If they truly want to strengthen that relationship, that marriage. Otherwise, we're going to establish as either we can fix it and we can take out the things that are there that shouldn't be there, or put things that should be there that are not, or just come to an unanimous decision as we just screwed up. We was in puppy love and things happened, but we just could not come together, which they call irreconcilable differences. Okay, so, but that's how you come to resolving things. Being a good problem solver is being able to use collective knowledge. So in terms of what we see with Trump and his cabinet, about if be thankful that I'm not president in my cabinet, because I'm going to use, very talented individual, but I'm going to take it one step further. These people are going to also help me understand with we the people, because not everyone out there lives their life of a pope, and not everyone out there lives a life of Jeffrey Dahmer. Not everyone lives a life of Charles Manson. Not everyone lives the life of KKK. Not everyone lives the life of Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter, Green Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter. See, I am all lives matter, all life forms. So, when you say Black Lives Matter or KKK, White Lives Matter, it's like you're saying, I'm separate from you. I'm better than you. That's essentially what it's saying. I'm a life form. When it comes down to identification, it comes down to identifying your bones. So in a museum, that's how we say, oh, that's a T-Rex. Oh, that's a raptor. And say, oh, that's human. And say, oh, they're extinct. Well, no matter what they did during the course of they're extinctionists. Means that was the thing that they proved to everyone, that they know how to be an extinctionist. So let's just say that's not a good element to put in your resume. Okay, so that's why extinction is always our opposing energy. And we have to find out what its capability is. Is it offsetting a person's thinking of things? So, duly noted. Now, some are problem solving and collective knowledge. I have to collect this. And I have to be non-biased. Okay, but on the same token, I might look into that guy that wants to put firecrackers up the cat's ass and say, wait a minute, okay, I might put something in his life to help him over that little hump or that plateau, where now I might see him 6 months later and he might say, Everett, God, I feel horrible. I said, why? Because I remember 6 months ago I was telling you that I have the right to stick firecrackers up cats' asses, and I don't believe that anymore. I can't believe I even thought of that or thought it was amusing. I don't know what happened to me. And I said, well, what? Well, what happened to you? Well, I was in a car accident, and I was in a coma for 4 months of that. When I came to, I had a great appreciation for life. And I don't know why, but my thinking has also changed. So that's why that we have to be, we use, the people use it in the relationship, being monogamous. Monogamous was meant to be in your evolutional days. That means your past does not come into the present, and then you're not subjecting to others or in a relationship of what you experienced when you were 10 or when you were 15. So that's why monogamy, the term monogamy, is important. Now, we know in terms of relationship, monogamy is that it's just you and me and no one else. Okay, that's not the proper placement of monogamy, by the way. Okay, because if monogamy was that true with Adam and Eve, okay, population wouldn't be near as big. Okay, for starters. So when you test drive it in other areas, monogamy is best suited in your evolutional days. So if you had a bad situation with a relationship, you don't treat your new relationship as if she's being punished for the things that you did that happened to you 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's just like in our past, in the development of our country. Duly noted, there were political groups that believed in slavery, and they had a different view of how life should be. That was duly noted. But how they wanted their version of, like this cat's ass and the firecracker, in my higher level of thinking and problem solving, I just, in my mind, I said, oh, hell no. But I still have to respect his First Amendment. I have to have feedback. And once we make it against the law, I still have to treat him just like any other individual. Okay? And if he's not putting firecracker up animals' butts and cats' asses or donkeys or horses or anything like that, we're okay. Okay? Because, some people think, well, I'm a bad person. I got this thoughts and I got that thoughts and that thoughts. Say it is sin if you thought it. Well, no, actually it's a sin if you carry it out. Okay? Our minds are going through simulations to try to see what is reasonable and what is rational. Okay? But when we get confused and we start acting out, role-playing in the physical sense, we try to do the simulation up here, what you know. So you don't have to put a cat through torture, or an animal, or a horse, or people, per se. And you say, wait a minute, I've done a simulation up here, and it's like it always ends with extinction. It always ends with the pain and suffering of people. Why do I have these thoughts? That's extinction at play. I didn't say the devil. I didn't say the Lucifer. Our enemy, extinction, affects the flow of electricity and the polarity of energy. So you might think, oh, why do I feel the need to rape women? Okay. It could be a slew of things. It could be things that happened in your past, in the previous life, But what is important now is assimilate that in your head and keep it in your head, okay? Is because you don't want to rape women. You don't want to hurt women, okay? And if anything, take it one step further is to try to understand where this is coming from, because extinction is on the side and it wants to play nation against nation, people against people, male against female. So that's a male against female thing. Is if it can get the male to rape the woman, and the woman generates hatred against the male, and the male gets hatred against the woman, and then the end result is extinctionist. Okay, so that's why we have to understand certain fundamentals of energy and polarity. Now, the devil was created to understand people back in that time of the things that were happening around them that best explain what it could be, okay? And Lucifer, depicted as the most beautiful angel of God, basically a alpha prime, of evolution, okay? And people got Jesus incorrectly, and they also misconstrued Lucifer. Does he exist? Absolutely. But on an alpha prime of energy, means to propel energy forward, not of an extinction. So that's why a lot of people, through the course of their development of evolution, they have, and people have preached it, oh, that's the demon, that's the devil. That's people's early understanding of it. Just like if I came to a caveman and I pull out my smartphone, he might think I'm the devil or I'm some kind of force that he's unfamiliar with, and I want to kill him with it. I'm going to torture him with it. Or he might, the light God, the light God. So perception, even from a caveman, can be one or the other. So that's why we have to use collective knowledge and duly noted. Means as a problem solver, I'm to bring in the information, not be biased to where you're at. If we have concluded that is illegal in this area amongst us all, please don't do so. Because we'll just say if the consequences was, if we catch you into a animal cruelty, the punishment of that will be merciful. If it's a capital punishment, then, back then, they would just decapitate you real quick. You wouldn't feel a thing. And I mean, we would not take liberties in your punishment. But on the same token, we have to deter such behaviors because it coincides with extinction. We want to see future. We want to see 4 billion years in the future, not having to start back over from the very beginning as a caveman and have to reinvent everything, in hopes that we get things done correctly the next time around. So that's why duly noted and collective knowledge and monogamy. Okay, monogamy, if you're not using monogamy in your day, is what you're doing, you're subjecting to your relationships, into your family and friends, of all the things that's happened to you in the past. See, I'm almost 48. I'll be 48 on December 7th. Okay. And if I'm having a bad day, then everyone gets subjected to this because I'm not using monogamy. Monogamy, in a sense, is like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So that'll conclude on this part 1 of talking about duly noted, collective knowledge, and monogamy. So, and it gives you better insight of viewing life, expanding your collective knowledge, expanding your knowledge, and in developing yourself in terms of your evolution, evolve. With that, this is Everett Pierce with Einstein 314. And it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure of teaching you.